Hey everybody, welcome to our YouTube channel. Please like, share, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications for our upcoming videos and episodes. Thank you and enjoy the show. Hey, yes, do you know what
Yeah,
today is? Do you know what
yeah,
today is? It's that Redline
yeah.
Thursday. It's that Redline
That
Thursday. Ah, ah,
what it
ah,
is?
ah. What,
Hey,
what,
birthday.
what, what? And it's
Woo!
the great Little Wayne and Juvenile said, the wobble, the wobble, the wobble, the wobble, the wobble, the wobble. It's that red line Thursday. What's
Yes.
going on, everybody? We are back in effect for another wonderful red line Thursday. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? So, hey, everybody, welcome to the Red Line Podcast right here on TalkShoeRadio.com, 717-734-6904, show ID 5'11", 19 pound, hosted by me, Nelly Swag 09, and by the beautiful Queen Alexis. Doors are now closing. Please take your seats, hold on tight as we ride this train from Howard headed south to 95th. On today's episode of the Red Line Podcast, we are talking about millennial parenting. Yeah. How are we parenting versus how we were parented versus how we parented our children, from the way we interact with them as well as communication, discipline, and so much more. So this should be a real fun, introspective topic. But before we get into all of that, everybody, y'all know what we got to do. Y'all should know this by now. Well, this is what, the 22nd episode? So yeah, y'all should kind of know what this is. Last week's episode of this segment actually had me on the floor needing oxygen. So I hope this week's episode doesn't send me to the emergency room. But we're about to do my favorite segment and never underrated part of the show. So I need everybody to say it with your chest. Everybody out there, loose
Two
squares, and
squares and
loud.
loud.
Brought to you by our very own Queen Alexis. So, Queen, what is your loose squares and loud for this week's Red Line Thursday? Go ahead, let the passengers know as they ride this crazy train of ours.
Usually my loose squares and loud has something to do with the topic on tonight, on the nights that we have these Thursday night topics. I will dedicate the loose squares and loud to that topic, but not tonight. Couldn't do it. Oh, I have to talk about my morning. Early in the morning, early, the sun was just rising a little bit, just a rising above the clouds. It was getting light. It was dim, but it still was light and everything. And I was just coming home from my workout with Planet Fitness. I had a good workout, feeling good. I done found on Apple Music this jazz group called Sons of Kemet, and was vibing with them and everything. And I was on the 34th, South Michigan. I left 95th and I went riding and was having a wonderful time on my way home. And I get to 130th and Daniel Drive. And I got off because that's my stop. I can just get off there and just walk to my house. And when I proceeded to get off of the bus, I saw two cars in the entranceway of my apartment complex. One was going in, one was coming out. Both of them stopped, and two women came flying out their cars, out the driver's seats, and went to Wheeler. It was 7:30 in the morning. 7:30 in the morning. I think there was still sleeping crackers in their eyes, and I think they was just going out just for a run or something. One had flip flops and one had her weave was up in the ponytail. Well, the weave that was up in the ponytail ended up as tumbleweaves, and I did Had tumbleweeds. Bro, it was rolling, rolling, rolling like the Wild Wild West. And they were swinging in the middle of the street, cars stopping. They about to kill themselves fighting at 7:30 in the morning. All right, let me talk to y'all right quick. Cause a little bit in the story, I was standing there stuck and everything. Cause I was sitting up there like, what has happened here? One of the girls that came out, one of the cars that was going into the complex was like, yeah, I told you I was gonna see you on site. And that's what you get for talking shit about my cousin. Can I talk to some of y'all? And I know that y'all part of our generation. I don't think this is generation Y at all. This is millennials because my dear, um ain't nobody beefing that early in the morning. I'm sorry. If you mad from the night before or a couple of nights before and you see somebody that you gonna have you got you angry about, it that takes a lot to get about your car and start whooping ass. I was amazed at how much energy they had at 7:30 in the morning. Usually for me, 7:30 in the morning is I'm getting the kids about the school, out the house, going to school, but I'm still groggy myself. And y'all are off 7:30 in the morning, y'all beefing over bacon. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So more of my story is
You gang banging over bacon, nigga? I'm sorry, Cat
gang
Williams.
banging over bacon. Gang banging over bacon. More of my story is this. Y'all, at least wait till at least 12 noon or 1 o'clock to beat a bitch ass. I'm just saying. It's too early. Your bones ain't even stretched out quite well. And everything. Until the young lady that lost her weave down the street, well, I actually helped her get her weave. It was some good hair too, girl. It was good quality. I brushed all the leaves up out of it and everything, and it didn't tangle at all. You paid some good money, but to you, sir, keep your mouth shut. Stop talking about people's family members and shit. And to the woman that pulled the weave out her head, yeah, you got your exercise in and everything. I hope you yeah, I hope you at least stretch before you start whooping ass. I'm just saying. And that with that being said, bless your hearts and your parts and go on about this ride right here. Go on, Chanel.
I, I, I just want to add a tidbit to that. I, I don't know why y'all be so angry in the morning. Like
In the
it
morning.
don't make sense. Like, did you brush your teeth? You should be angry with your halitosis, not with somebody that early in the morning. Like, just a side note, I used to wonder, like, when I used to like get up or go to school or get up real early, like going to work, and it's like 7 o'clock in the morning, and people in full enthralled conversations on the phone. I'm like, who is talking to you this damn early? Like,
Who is
let
going
me
out
know.
this morning?
Like, it's set.
And
Like, you just woke up, but it is what it is. But everybody give it up for Queen Alexis and her loose squares and loud for this week. She will be
I'm
back
just saying,
every she
I'm
will
just
be
saying,
back
she
next
had some good
Thursday.
weed. She
I
just had
I
good
know.
weed. She got it snatched out of her head, but it was some good weed, but some good quality. All the leaves got out. You know, you brushed it out. It didn't tangle or nothing. It was some
Oh
good
my
weed.
god.
I think it was that new Remy Yaki or something. I don't
It was
know,
that
but it was
Brazilian. I
good.
don't know
Ooh,
that Ethiopian something. Anyways, thank you, Queen Alexis, for your loose squares and loud. Um, and she will be back every Thursday right here on the Redline podcast on talkshoeradio.com. Once again, that number is 717-734-6904. Show ID 5'11", 65, 19 pound. So, like I mentioned at the top of the show, we are talking about millennial parenting versus past generations. So I know so many of you may or may not know what a millennial is. Y'all have heard the word on TV, or when they want to blame what is going on in society, they tend to push blame on millennials. Millennial, or a Generation Y, was born between 1981 through 1996. So before we get into parenting, I gotta put this point out here. So stop blaming everything on millennials. Like really, just stop blaming us, okay?
We
If
ain't do shit.
we didn't do anything to create the society, like all the work, your work ethic, or all, like check this out, right? If you was able to get a job and work your way through college in 1973, good job to you, because tuition was maybe 22,000 or 18,000 for the whole 4 years. Sometimes for college for us, if you go to a 4 year university, it's looking like six figures every semester. So excuse the hell out of me. And if you want to look at what's going on in society, we ain't the ones who've been had a longer time to vote. I've only been eligible. My first presidential election wasn't until 2012. So all the things that have went on in society have not been our fault.
Y'all did it.
And y'all haven't made political endeavors engaging to us. Y'all tend to blame everything on us, talk about we the lazy generation, where we're the most innovative generation to date, between all the technologies that we have and the things that we have at our exposure. And last but not least, I just want to say this: we're not the ones in Congress and Senate. The average age of a
It's y'all.
congressman or a congress and a senator, they're baby boomers, okay? And a little bit
It's y'all.
before baby boomers. So it's not us. It's not
It's y'all.
millennials. It's y'all. So anything that goes on in society is not our fault. When you say what's going on with these kids today, y'all was the generation before us, and that's what irritates me about the previous generation. Instead of seeking knowledge, y'all don't like what we do. If we organize a protest, y'all say y'all could have organized it better. If we decide to mobilize and create different forms of income, it's like y'all could have done this better. Now that we have more access to do more things, a lot of us realize that college, as great as it is, all of us don't need to go and put ourselves in that amount of debt just to have to pay somebody back for a degree that might be worthless, because everybody wants experience versus education.
Mm-hmm.
So when y'all say, oh, they're not in college, that means that they don't want nothing to do with their life. No, that means that we done figured out that sometimes college can be a hustle. Now, if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, if you're going in the medical field, if you're doing all of these different type of things, yes, you need to go to school, study very well. And I believe, like we've stated all throughout the summer and parts of the fall, that some of these police officers need to have more of an education than what they do. Because if they did, we would realize how intellectual and competent that they are, and they shouldn't be given a badge and a gun.
Ever.
So, what I'm
And you,
saying is, I pray, amen. What I'm saying is, don't
amen.
blame us for what has happened, because who raised us? Hmm? Hmm?
Y'all.
Who gave
Y'all.
us this society? Y'all suck Social Security
Y'all.
dry. Y'all chose to vote for politicians that didn't have us in mind, and y'all want to say we're the selfish generation? No, the hell we're not. And that leads me to this thing right here. So, being a millennial gives you a different outlook on things that other generations have before. So, it does. We millennials are and to an extent, Gen Z have a very unique perspective. What I mean by that is, we, especially if you're a millennial that was born between, let's say, of course in the 80s, but you was born in the early 90s and you grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s. We have seen everything from when internet used to be dial up and AOL, like you got mail, you had to plug it into the phone jack and you couldn't receive phone calls, to
For a
now.
whole day.
Now we can be our phone, we can literally be on the phone and the internet at the same time because our smartphone devices are mini computers and communication devices. So we've experienced everything from cassette tapes to CDs to MP3s to now streaming. We have seen the evolution of the big box TVs to the plasma TVs to the now the smart TVs. We have went through an evolution, and we know we enough nostalgic about the past, but enough tech savvy about the future, and that influences a lot of who we are, and we have a lot of different outlooks on things, and that leads me to our parenting in a way that things are influenced. The way we raise, how we raise influences our parenting. Like if your parent is a baby boomer and you was raised by your grandma and your grandpa, then they're a generation before them. And the way you're raised, you tend to be like, okay, that whole thing is to be seen to and not heard. You have to be respectful, mind your manners, respect your elders, which is all you respecting your elders is all a good thing. But at the same time, when you're a millennial and you grow up in that and then you have a child, you sometimes kind of realize how jacked up those things your parents and your grandparents made you do. For example, the famous be seen and is not heard. Being seen and not heard is not being respectful. It teaches you to be invisible. You learn early that my presence should never be felt when I enter a room. You're unknowingly and subconsciously you're teaching your children and that you know what, you need to be seen. I need to see who you are, but you don't need to be heard. That means you don't need to have a voice. And don't talk when grown folks are talking or get out of grown folks' business. Like some things, yes, you should shield and protect your child from these things. But at the same time, your child, you grow up with so much not information. And then when your child goes out and learns it out there in the streets and they're uneducated, it's like, how could you be so stupid? How could you be so careless? It's like, yo, you told me to be seen and I heard. You told me stay out of grown folks' business. So when I got in grown folk situations, I didn't know how to conduct myself because you didn't prepare
Mm-hmm.
me. You prepared me to be invisible. You prepare me to be a presence, but not let anybody know that I'm present.
Mm-hmm.
And psychologically, that two things can't be true at the same time. Not in that instance. I cannot You cannot condemn me for making childish decisions when you never entertain me in adult conversations. So Queen, as far as that's concerned, like what do you think of those methods of the way I know me and you were kind of raised to kind of be under that umbrella, but as we've grown and become adults, we kind of realize how jacked up that thing is.
Well, this is the thing. I was fortunate enough to have a mom that not so much was like stay out of grown folks' business. She shielded me from a lot, but at least gave me an opportunity and a voice to talk. But a lot of my peers, they didn't have the same luxury. That method of stay out of grown folks' business, and it's funny when you said that because the thing about it is that not only does it teach us how to be invisible, But psychologically and subconsciously, when you become a parent, you end up saying the same thing to your child. You end up
Exactly.
treating your child the same way when you just, I'm talking grown folk stuff and everything. And this generation of children out the gate come pretty much out the birth canal is dealing with grown folks situation. We
Exactly.
gotta
And
we
go
cannot
ahead.
we can no longer show we can no longer shield them from a lot of the stuff that's going on. Like there was a lot we let me put it like this. Racism and police brutality been going on for
Ever.
centuries, decades, forever.
Forever. Forever,
But
ever.
for
Forever,
us
ever.
growing up, for us to grow up, a lot of that was shielded. A lot of that wasn't, and in some cases, a lot of us, we seen it, but we really didn't understand it.
Didn't
With
comprehend
as
it.
blatant, with as blatant that it is right now, and wherever you go, it's kind of like, you know, when we was growing up, you remember they used to have the police officers come to our school and talk to
Officer
us,
friendly.
and yeah. Nowadays, you can't do that with these kids, not with this generation, not with this time, for the simple fact that I just saw on you talking about you officer friendly, but I just saw somebody like you in your uniform on TV kill somebody.
And it's not even that. A lot of times we grow up, okay, like per se. I was born in the year of the Rodney King situation. 1991, if I believe that's when that happened. I was so that was chaotic. But culturally culturally I didn't know about Rodney King or OJ Simpson or all of those monumental things that took place until I got older and I got educated, whether it was from watching documentaries or being in school or all of that. But now, with your child being a certain age, they grasp to things a whole lot quicker because like I said, in this generation, gen gen Z has a lot more tools and it has things more accessible to them than we had when we were coming up. We got this technology being teenagers and being adults. They're getting this technology soon as they're born.
Pretty
and
much out the cradle.
and you know a lot of these things are shocking, and we have to explain it. And when those things, as coming up, be seen not heard, don't talk when grown folks are talking, stay out of grown folks business, all of those cliches. I can't say per se I was taught that. I get, as a parent, you want to teach a child respect, and I do. If I'm on the phone and I'm talking to another adult or I'm conducting business, I would let my daughter know, hey, it's not the time. I'm handling something that's important. If I'm at the grocery store and I'm trying to, make sure I put my debit card back or make sure I have the right amount of money that I'm giving to the cashier, and they're pulling on me, oh mommy, I want this, and that can distract me. I let them know, hey, this is important. Don't do that. But I've been very open with discussing with my daughter, who was 8 years old, about the things that me and my mom might have open discussions. Me and my friends will have open dialogue discussions, and we talk. And and don't get it twisted, I'm not saying expose everything, like, no. But if they got questions, they have questions. Like when your daughter comes to you with that question, so mommy, where do babies come from? Who?
Jesus.
Mm, yeah. Or that question when you have a daughter who is 8 going on 9, and they ask you, so mom, at what age do I get my period? Oh. Because, like, why do
And
you wear
hold up,
pads?
hold up.
Or why do you
And,
wear
and, and
tampons? Or how do you
And
put a
hold up, and
tampon in? I'm like, wait a minute.
hold up,
Go play with
hold up,
Barbie.
hold up. It gets really worse for the parents, for the mothers that actually started their period around that age. Like right now, I'm like in like countdown mode for real for my daughter because I started early and she kind of get a little. She getting the boobs. I'm not ready for this shit yet. But I
It's
know
okay.
it's
Mine's is
coming.
too. Mine's is too.
And it's not to some women, it's the conversation that scares them. But for the women that literally you started early, you started developing early and everything, and you just so happen to connect up with a brother that all the women up in his family develop early too. It's like, baby, it's not just the conversation. You on watch mode. You on watch mode. Like, okay, this is
Yeah.
around the time I got
And
my
you can't
boobs. This about to come
and you
up
can't
here for
shield
this
them.
man. You can't.
And you feel like you need to because you were shielded. Because I'll be honest with you, the
I want to shield
conversation,
it.
the conversation of what a period was, I wasn't thinking about that. Like I didn't think about it until my mother brought it up once I was entering puberty age. But when you have a child who is observant and they see, you go through what you got to go do, or you got to slide to the bathroom, you know, when it gets to that time, and then they're like, "Mommy, do you need a pad?" Like, shut! There's people in this house. Shh! Don't be telling my business, okay? Just damn it! But
I
but
know. I can't
they don't,
relate.
they don't know about tact. They don't know about tact. But
Well,
quite
in that
honestly,
case, Chanel. Well, in that case, my family ain't never had no time. First of all, I lived in a house full of women and Andre, so I think pretty much we terrified and traumatized Andre. It was me, my mama, and my grandma. So to say, "Oh, mommy, do you have a pad?" No, it was like, "Baby, go in my drawer and get mama." Which
yeah, it just
ones? You know the ones, okay? So
so yeah, but and and that's kind of like, you know, something that we as a generation, we saw what was happening before us, and a lot of times you end up in those situations. Fortunately for me, I didn't have my child when I was like, per se, still a kid, like in my teenage years. I was in my early 20s, going into my early 20s. But a lot of the situation is like, man, I maybe I could have handled this better. And that me to brings me to this point before we go into the deeper stuff. That whole thing, I'm not one of your little friends. Your mom or somebody would say to you, I'm not one of your little friends, or I'm your mother, I'm not your friend. And as a millennial, like, your child is your friend. Like, you do more things with them, you have more activities with them. And what I'm saying all this to say is having your child as your friend really that bad of a thing? I know people's like, you don't want to blur the line between authority and friend, but you're teaching them about friendship, about respect and relationship, not authority so much. Because you feel like since you birthed them as a mother, or you was part of the process of you getting here as a father, you hold this high position and you should never look at me as your friend. But when you get into situations like, let's say your daughter pops up pregnant at 16, and she was having these urges and she had sex and wasn't educated about birth control or anything, and it's like, and you come to, why you didn't talk to me? Why you didn't tell me? How can I tell you when you're not my friend? You're authoritative, so I'm scared to communicate these urges and desires with you. So then you wind up in an adult situation, and you felt like you didn't have nobody to confide in. And that was one thing, and I would say this: I love my mom. We have a great relationship now, a wonderful relationship. But in the beginning, I will always remember, I'm not your friend, I'm your mother, and all of that. And I was like, dang. And then they get offended when it's like, oh, you don't want to hang out with me or go to the mall with me or make this run with me. Like, but you're my mom, right? So how can I have that open relationship with you? And you're stating from the door that I'm your mother, not your friend. And I believe with millennials, we take that and we don't do that. Like my daughter, she's my best friend. We went on vacation together. We'll go to the mall like some Saturdays. She'd be like, "What you want to do?" I don't know. She's like, "You want to go to the mall?" I'm like, "Sure, let's go." Even if we're not really spending no money and we just go get a hot pretzel in the food court, it's about that interaction and building those memories. And I don't think me having that friend, because she tells me all the time, Mom, you're my best friend, that doesn't drop down her respect for me at all. It actually makes, I believe, makes them want to respect you more because you teaching them the value of friendship. Like she knows I'm her mother. I never have to remind her I'm your mom, but I want her to feel like the communication is open to a point where you could talk to me about anything. I'm not gonna look at you weird. Like, you get to that point when you get older and you having these hormones, or you liking this boy, or he trying to finesse you. I can simply talk to you and be like, baby girl, don't fall for the finesse. Let me put you on game, all right? Let me let you know how mama was pimping, all right? I'll go send you to player McAdoo Queen Alexis over there to your TT Alexis, and she gonna put you on all the game.
Look, I bring out the pimp Bible. They're like, come here, child. Come, turn with me to First Pepalations,
For
chapter
real.
15. But
And
this
and,
the
and,
thing,
and it's
Carnell. But this the
yeah.
thing. This is the thing that's the difference with our parenting and the generation before us parenting. You gotta put into consideration that one, a lot of our generation started parenting early, like teenage years.
True.
So a lot of us literally grew up with our child.
Yes, or
That's
if you
for one.
started, like for me, if I starting off in my early 20s, I literally, my daughter helped me grow. Like each year she grew, I grew. I wasn't
Hmm.
established. I wasn't. It wasn't a clear set thought in my mind I was going to have a family. At that time, I didn't even want no damn kids. I'll be honest with you. I was just trying to live my life. But God knew what I needed, because if I didn't, I would have been out here wilding a little bit. So, like, yeah, so that's a great point. Like a lot of us, we did grow up with our kids.
But that's why we have that friendship. It's not an authoritative situation. And a lot of us have tried that. We have tried that, oh, I'm not your friend, I'm your mama. But you see when you what that effect is growing up for you. And like I agree with you, like you said, when it comes down to those adult and grown situations where you need your parent to sit down with you and just keep it 100. A lot of let's just go all the way there dealing with sexuality. Um, some of us grew up not knowing anything about their parents, sexuality wise. And most of our parents, let's just be honest, were some freaks.
They was down in Freak
Nowadays,
Nick. They was in Freak Nick with
right,
Luke. Just be honest. Just be honest.
just
or or,
throwing
or you were-
ass.
or they was in them psychedelic concerts, and you
Baby,
know, or the all white Frankie Beverly and Maze concerts back. Yeah, it was a thing. It was a thing. And that's true. Like it's like our parents were presented to us one way. They had it all together when we was born. They had the house, they had this, they had the career, they had the job, woo wop the bam. While our kids kind of see us grow and build to that. Like they're seeing us build to having all of those things and accumulating all of those things. So they feel so much a part of the journey. So when you get that, as like I saw like on Facebook, like when this woman purchased her home and her son was 15, and they talk about, going through it, living in these bummy apartments and doing what they had to do, and she had to work hard, and her son hugged her and cried and was like, "Mom, I knew you can do it." Like, and and I've been riding with you this whole time, and I'm just so happy for you, because that son at 15 saw his mother struggle to get their first home. So he felt so good and so proud of his mother. Like, my daughter was at my college graduation when I graduated from college, and that was the image she saw. Like, most, like, the generation of our parents, sometimes they already had their degree, or we were so young not knowing they were going to school. We really wasn't hip to what they was doing, or they was just already kind of established or in their careers. But this generation, as millennials, they see us building these legacies. They see us trying to build these empires and these businesses and these entities. So a lot of times they feel so part of the journey. It's like, you're more than my parent. Like, you my homie. I seen what you doing, and I
Hmm.
feel so a part of it.
Also, with this, okay, kind of going back to when it comes talking about the sexuality situation. Let me point out this. There's a lot of us, of our parents, like I said, they was freakniks, and some of them was in the LGBTQ lifestyle. We never knew about it till we got grown. Nowadays, it is being taught at kindergarten. You see it. Our kids are seeing, oh, their little friends, their classmates got two mommies, got two daddies, and they got questions. We ain't never know about this, but we out
That's
with it and everything. We out with it more and
because we're
trying to teach
exposed.
them
We're
acceptance.
exposed to it. We're
Yeah.
exposed to it because, like, for example, I never knew, like, you remember if you watch any of like the Sanford and Son episodes, right? And Fred would go
Mhm.
that side to side with his hand to say he's a little on this side or whatever. Never knew what that meant, and it was never explained. And until I got older, I knew what he meant. Talk about, is the person gay or whatever? But those things were never really exposed and told to us. But now our kids kind of know, they know it, and that doesn't make it a bad thing. Once again, that doesn't make it a bad thing if your child knows it. Like, I know you want to shield them, and you want to, but understand that the world that they live in, that's not saying you have to be like, okay, you're not going to take part of this lifestyle, but it's about giving your child autonomy and authority over who they are and what they are. Because we tend,
Mhm.
like, there was, like, with things like National Coming Out Day and things like that, the fact that it has to be like a coming out thing, like you having to tell your parents that you have these desires and worrying about what they're going to think or what they're going to do. It should be like, you know what, in your mind, like your parents, they already, like, our parents already probably had a preconceived notion what they wanted their child to be, what they wanted them to
Mhm.
do. That because check this out. Have you ever, um like, when you grow up, right, and you got a bad report card or you was doing something, like, your parents just want to brag on you. So yeah, my baby's in college, or she's on the dean's list, or she got that. It became more about them having something to brag about, having you as the showpiece. But if you didn't follow the plan, it was like you was the failure, and everybody, like auntie and them, would look at you weird because you decided to go off the uncharted path. But
Mhm.
but now, as we're parents, we kind of understand, like, yo, your journey is not going to be the journey. So that's why a lot of us don't have these preconceived notions of what we think our child is going to be like. We just don't know until they grow up. But all you can do is love them, expose them to as many things as possible, and give them a safe haven, and hopefully everything works out. So that brings me to this point. Um, and it's pretty much corporal punishment. Is it right or is it trauma? So I got this article and I want to kind of read it. Corporal punishment in black communities is not intrinsic cultural tradition but racial trauma. This was on APA.org. Um, a 2015 peer review found that black parents are than more than twice as likely as white Latino parents to use corporal punishment on a regular basis, and they are far less likely to never spank their kids. But while hitting children is prevalent in the black community, contrary to popular belief, it's not an intrinsic cultural tradition. Black parents have legitimate fears about the safety of their children. An overwhelming majority believe in physical discipline is necessary to keep black children out of the street, out of prison, or out of police officers' sight. And far too many parents argue that whooping children is a distinctly black tradition. This belief, however, is heartfelt is wrong. Black children are more likely to be assaulted and seriously injured or killed by a family member than by police or neighborhood watch. Historical roots. African Americans adopted the practice of beating children from white slave masters. Europeans brutalized their own children for thousands of years prior to crossing to the Atlantic to the New World and colonizing Africa. Historians have found that no evidence of rituals of physical discipline of children existed in pre-colonial West African societies prior to the Atlantic slave trade. West African societies held children in a much higher regard than slave societies in the Atlantic world, which placed emphasis on black bodies as property, not as human beings. West Africans believed that children came from the afterlife and they were gods, and we incarnated ancestors who led to profound spiritual lives and held extraordinary mystical powers that could be harnessed through ritual practices for good of the community. In fact, it was believed that a child could by hitting a child could scar their soul. Indonesian people of North America held the same belief as colonization, slave, and genocidal violence made life harsher for these groups. Parenting practices also grew harsher. So I I know the whole thing about corporal punishment and whooping and spanking my child is not abuse. That's where millennial generations take things a little differently. Like I was whooped. I was. And I do believe that those whoopings and that punishment did help me in some extent. But as I've gotten older and became an adult, I realized that I had some traumas from it that I didn't realize. Sometimes you don't know you're a victim until you you start to try to practice those practices on your children, and you're realizing, hold up, this is not right. And you're not raising emotionally healthy children. Like, this was trauma from slavery. And hitting your kids is not an expression of love. Like that expression of, this is going to hurt you more than it hurts me. So if it's hurting you so damn much, don't hit them. There's so many different ways to enact punishment or discipline than abusing or hitting your child. And I can hear the older generation and some of my fellow millennials like, oh, this generation is soft. And that's what we keep hearing. We're soft. We're soft. Y'all too soft. This generation's too sensitive. Y'all too hypersensitive and y'all too damn soft. No, we're trying to raise emotionally intelligent children. So being emotionally intelligent is soft? Like, I know in the Bible it says spell the rod, spoil the child, but that did not and does not mean with the actual rod. That Bible verse has been twisted and manipulated, and as we all have discussed on this show previously, the Bible was weaponized against slaves. So, what's the term? If you know better, you do better. And quite frankly, I know I know corporal punishment and hitting your kids or whipping them or spanking them or whatever term you want to use. I know because a lot of times we want to go back to what worked for us. But mind you, no kid is the same and no generation is the same. And if we're trying to raise emotionally healthy children, we got to let go of some of that trauma. And that's why I say systematic racism is such a problem because it's systematic. The things that were done to us hundreds of years ago have infiltrated us as parents, like as parents. And even I read in an article that we tend to not see children as actually being children. Like we're like, for example, cases of like Tamir Rice and Trayvon Martin, having them be older than what they actually are, like painting them to be these grown men when they were children. Even with Emmett Till, and we are so scared of sending our children out there unprepared that we want to beat the fear into them to be respectful instead of teaching them about their pride. And we don't even have our childish innocence. Like I saw one day in the store, this little girl, I think it was yesterday, she was upset that she couldn't get no Skittles. And her mama came, what the F you crying about some damn Skittles for? You ain't getting no damn Skittles. All of that. And I'm looking like, just get the baby some Skittles or just tell her, no, maybe next time. But y'all get upset because the, the baby wants some Skittles? That's like when the slave master got upset because they say, Master, can I get some water? What? You want some water? But maybe that just went over y'all heads. I don't know.
No, no, it didn't. It probably people listening to this probably feeling conflicted about it. Because let's just be totally honest. Okay, corporal punishment, yeah, we got it from slavery to discipline our children in a harmful way. This is the thing with this generation here. Just to compare and contrast, a lot of our corporal punishment is our own frustrations.
Mhm.
We
It
having a
is,
bad day. We
and we
having a
take it
bad
out on
day
them.
as a parent, and the child do one simple thing, and you backhanding them. So
And it
yeah, it
just,
becomes trauma again. It becomes
and we're
abuse because
inflicting it.
it's not about them. You
It
upset.
becomes about you. It becomes about you. And for example, like let's just be honest. Parenting in a pandemic is different and it's freaking hard.
As hell.
We dealing with e-learning. Our children can't see their friends. We can't go anywhere, and they're already emotionally, like, this year has emotionally probably going to stick with some children. Like, you might need to put your child in some therapy or talk to them and have open discussions. So I had to catch myself the other day. So my daughter was doing rounding up to the nearest hundred and down to the nearest hundreds, doing rounding up, doing third grade math. And any parent out there doing second, third grade math knows my plight. It can be a lot.
We
And
need a
yeah, and I got frustrated with her, and I'm like, yo, this is the nearest hundred. What are you not getting? What are you not understanding? And it's just like, come on now. Are you stupid? Are you dumb? What's going on? And then I had to catch myself. Wait a minute. And then I was like, what's the problem? What's going on? And she flinched. I was like, why you flinch? I don't want you to pop me. And I had to be like, you know what? Let me step away from
damn,
this.
damn.
And I'm making her nervous, and I'm not giving her the grace to get the answer wrong. She's so wanting to get the answer right. and understanding that this is not normal. She's supposed to be in the classroom, getting getting face to face interaction, explaining this, but she
Mm-hmm.
has to sit on a computer for 6 hours, try to get this concept
Mm-hmm.
through a computer, not really feeling connected to the teacher or her classmates. And then I come and I get frustrated because I've been at work and I have to help you with third grade math, and you think I'm gonna pop you when I'm not. And I don't need to be doing those things. Like, I have to step away. And you have to give yourself grace as a parent and understand that this is different. And I remember growing up, and I would have issues with my math, and I would actually be in the classroom and I would try to get help, but I get the answer wrong. And then, like, for example, if my brother was helping me, he'd throw the pencil all the way across the damn room because I'm getting frustrated. Or my mom is like, you need to sit down and get it done and figure it out. And it's like, I you have to break the cycle, and you have to give your children grace to mess up. That think about, and that goes back to not understanding that they're a child. Like, just because we know that if the problem is 358 and rounding it to the nearest hundred is going to be 400, doesn't mean, because we know
They
this is
know.
repetitive, but they don't know it. They're just learning this. And it takes them a couple of days. It might take them a week before the concept even drives home, but we're expecting them to know this thing in one night and move on because we've worked,
Mm.
our feet are tired. Or some parents out there have lost their jobs or haven't got called back to their jobs, and they've been trapped in the house with their kids for 7 8 months, and it becomes overwhelming. And that's why we take it out on them, and they become punching bags, or they become the vessel for our frustration.
Mm-hmm.
And and we gotta kind of, we have to realize, like, what our parents did when they used to hover over us and be like, you should know this, you should, maybe that worked for us, but I remember what it did to me. It made me, like, not even want my mom to check over my homework. I would rather get it wrong and have the teacher help me out with it than have my mom check over it, because I don't want to get yelled at, or I don't want to be felt like I'm stupid or I'm slow or I'm dumb because I'm not getting it. And then when you become a parent and you kind of realize, like, yo, this ain't cool. We shouldn't be doing this.
But you know what? Not only that, not only about the parents that's been, okay, you frustrated because you just got off of work and you tired, or you've been stuck in the house with your kids all this time. You have to also put into consideration of those parents that don't, that got this innate fear, to some subconscious fear of, I don't want to be looked at as a parent of a dumb child. And
Oh,
it's not that the child is dumb or the child is slow to learn it. Let me tell you this. These children now have more resources to help them learn than we did.
speak
We
on it.
got under, we were so under so much pressure from our parents trying to make sure that pretty
We
much
gotta be
live
we
their
gotta be
life
the
through
one,
us.
and we gotta
Live
we
their
gotta
life through us.
and we gotta be the generation that makes it. We have to be the generation that makes it. Because
And
you hear about it, the sacrifices your grandmama made, and the
oh
sacrifices your
yeah,
mama made for you to get here. So you got the pressure of being the generation that makes good on what they did.
instead of being the generation that makes it on their own and how they want to.
Exactly. And
That's
and it
what's
is.
going
And
on
it
here.
is. And it is because I have this fear because I grew up having some learning challenges. And you
Hmm.
suddenly think, like, is this thing genetic? Did I, me not being good at this, is that making her not good at this? Like, her struggling with weeding, like I was struggling with weeding. Like, did I do this? And it's like, is this hereditary? And you're putting pressure to prove that no, I'm going to work my child. And sometimes, and that brings me to this point. When you growing up in a multi-generational household, for
Hmm.
example, when You like with me, I live in the same household as my mother. It's me, my mother, and my daughter and my brother. But that's three generations of women in the same household. So when your parent is hovering over you of how you should raise your child, if your parent is saying you should be more interactive, or you don't do this, or I expose you to that, it's like, yo, let me parent the way I got to parent. Granted, you got 30 some years in parenting and you've been parenting, but I'm not my child. So, and I'm not you as a parent. That doesn't mean I can't pull from some things you've done. And it's like psychologically and subconsciously, we go back to how our parents raised us and we try to manipulate that and do that with our children and realize it's not going to work the same. And it's just like, when you're under that household and under that microscope of your parent looking at to see, oh, is that doing it right? Do I got to step in? What do I got to do? Like, don't get it twisted. I appreciate the help. Like, my mom did it with my brothers living in the same household as her mother. And like you said, you grew up in a multi-generational household.
Hmm.
And when you first had your daughter, it was a multi-generational household.
It was
So,
interesting too.
So, and so you know what I'm talking about. It's like those things when you're trying to figure out parenting. It's like your parents want to give you the cheat codes, but they get mad at you when you don't take it. Like, oh, you don't know what I'm talking about. Like, no, let me figure this out on my own. And that's a lot of the problems. Your parents want to use you as a puppet master instead of giving you the freedom to do things on your own. And it's like your parents get frustrated when you say, "Yo, this is my life and these are my decisions." So
Mhm.
I have to make these decisions. But they always, that's a reflection on me. If you don't make this, that, like what you do reflects me. And then I used to think about that. And I caught myself saying that to my daughter. What you do if you're not respectful, that's a reflection of me. If I was like, no, no, no. That's a reflection of how you are. So if you want to be looked at as a
Mhm.
disrespectful, rude little girl, then
There you
they're gonna
go.
look at you like that because I did my job. I raised you. You know what you're supposed to do. Now, are you going to carry it out or are you not? But they're going to look at you. They ain't gonna be, and I had to catch myself because you be like, who raised you? And then sometimes you got to step back, like they could have been raised by Cliff and Claire Huxtable, and they still could have turned out jacked up. Hell, half of them Cosby kids, if you watch the Cosby Show, ended up back in the house and jacked up them damn selves in one fashion or form. So that doesn't
Hmm.
mean that that's a big reflection on you. If your child chooses not to go to college, that's not reflecting that on you that you did something wrong in your parenting landscape. That means they chose to go their own path. But just be supportive and just know like, yo, and that's where that multi-generational household comes from. Because in the black community, it sometimes looks shunned upon. Oh, you still stay with your people. Oh, you still stay with your people. But it's like, why you not out on your own? And that's like being a millennial. A lot of us got college debt. We can't afford to be out on our own. Because we trying to live out what our parents wanted us to do. We in debt before we 25 years old. So
We in that. We in that before 21.
swear. And our credit scores jacked up because we wasn't taught about credit. Once again, got to stay out of grown folks' business. We didn't know
Uh-huh.
that we shouldn't sign up for these credit cards, or we didn't know that watching our credit score was important. And then when our parents let us know when we got to be adults, you be like, "This is a fine time to tell me." When I'm trying, like, why you didn't tell me what FICO is? Why you didn't tell me what a bank loan is when I'm trying to close on a house? You're not educating me. And then, and once again, that goes back to my previous point. I'm not one of your little friends. So when I'm looking for my own place or when I'm trying to establish myself, and you's like, hey, and they be like, why don't you use your parents as a resource? My parent is a parent. They're clearly not my friend. So they're going to judge me no matter what I do. And once again, that just carries over so much trauma and anxiety and feeling like you can't turn to your parent because you got to hold them in this big grand to do regard. And then we looked at it, these little peasants. So we looked at it as though, and it becomes a master and slave mentality. It's like, I don't want to do anything to get mama upset. So I better do this. Or I don't want to ruffle any feathers. And that goes back, oh, I don't want to get massa upset now. I don't want to do that now. Like we teaching our kids, we're teaching them to be historically woke but mentally suppressed
Man,
because
say that.
we have been there. Like I said, we have more resources than any other generation has ever had. We have our parents learned from their parents, and their parents learned from their parents. But now we have evaluations, we have psychology studies, we have Google, we have books, we have more resources available to us than any other generation before us, and we need to utilize it. Just because everybody said, like my point, education is key. There's not a handbook to this, so you just got to do your best with whatever you have available to you. It's okay to pull from your mama. It's okay to pull from your grandmama. It's okay to pull from your daddy. It's okay to pull from your granddaddy and your aunties and your uncles. But utilize these resources. You ain't soft for doing so. You ain't soft saying, yo, I want to let my child talk to a child psychologist because maybe there's things that therapist can reveal to you about what's going on with your child that you might not be able to get through with them, and they can give you tools and things to help you build those relationships with your children. And I want to bring up this point. It is not your child's responsibility to build a relationship with you. It's not.
Amen.
And
Amen.
what I mean by that is growing up, you always get the calls of, hey, you go over your grandma's house. Oh, it's nice to see you. Haven't heard you call me in a while. Or you can't check on your grandma, or you can't check on your auntie or your uncle or this. And it's like, yo, I'm a kid. Why am I obligated to call you? If you want to build a relationship with me, why don't you call me? And then I would make me call you. Like a relationship is a two-way street. So once again, adult parents, don't get upset when your child leaves the nest and they go live their own life and they not calling you. It's your job to reach out to them, and that goes back to that, I'm your parent, not your friend. How are you trying to expect a friendship relationship with your child when you established since they was 1 years old that you're their parent and not their friend? You can't have both. You can't. And that's why I say millennial parenting is different. Like my relationship with my daughter is way different than the relationship I had with my mother. Like again, I'm an adult now. So my relationship is different because I've had experiences. I had a child. I'm in a career. I've done things. So me and my mom have a lot more to talk about versus me and my daughter. Like she's in a generation where like so many things are being remade. Like for example, when last year when me and my daughter got excited to go see Lion King, the live action movie, like I grew up with the cartoon, like the animated version of Lion King. And with that being redone in a new way, I'm able to relive my childhood through her. And that makes it so freaking cool and so fun. Like
But
I'm
side note, look, but side note, yeah,
don't
that was cool and fun. But after Beyonce came out with Black is King, that is the
exactly.
new Lion King. I'm sorry.
It's a it is, but that's what I'm saying. It's like we grew up, like for example, Beyonce came out in 96. We were young. So we literally grew up with Beyonce. Now she's putting out content for our kids where we have that connection. The generation before us didn't have that. We didn't have a connection except like now I appreciate it and I have those memories, like I said, of my mom playing these Motown classics and Marvin Gaye and Gladys Knight and the Temptations. Like what when me and my mom connected the most is when the Temptations movie came out. And I discovered this
Mhm.
music of My Girl and Papa Was a Rolling Stone. She actually was a teenager when these songs came out. So I was able to connect with her and that grew so vividly. For like example, when the new edition movie came out, you can tell my daughter nothing about Candy Girl. She was sing it to the high heavens. And Can You Stand the Rain? Like she really knew what Can You Stand the Rain was about. but it's the music I love, which translated into music she would love, and we connected that way. So being a millennial is different, and 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 it's okay to be different. It's cool. We not our parents, and parents out there, eh, growing up and being in a millennial generation. It's okay if you're not your parents. It's okay if you're not your big mama. Like it's perfectly okay because our children move and operate differently. And want to bring it to one of my final points. Enjoy your kids before you know it. They won't be kids anymore, man. Like
Yes.
I remember having my child. I of course I remember, like I remember May of 2012. I remember March of 2012 when I had her. And now in less than a few months in 2021, she's going to be 9, like close to 10. Like I've literally been a parent for almost a decade. And that's wild to me. And I've grown so much by being a parent. And I like, as much as you want your kids to appreciate you and the sacrifices and all that you do when you hear it all the time, but like one thing my mom has always said to me is like, man, you've helped me so much. You've by seeing you grow, I've grown. And it's the same with my daughter. Like she has helped me grow so much. She has inspired me. She has put the battery in my back, because before I had her, I was okay with probably having a mediocre life, like getting a little chill job, doing what I got to do, making a little money, and whatever whatever. But now I'm thinking about legacy. I'm thinking about building multiple streams of income, having generational wealth, giving her that sense of privilege that a lot of times black people don't have. Like that. Now I'm not talking about that privilege of just being black, because being black is a hell of a privilege. It's a beautiful privilege, as much as society wants to say it's not. But having that wealth gap closed, knowing that, hey, you ain't got to struggle for it, and and all of those things like that. So enjoy your kids, man. And that's why I gotta say, although this pandemic has been hard, and quarantining, and being in the house with your kids and e-learning, like before you know it, they're gonna be back in school. Life is gonna get back to normal, and we won't be wearing these masks. But those 7 to 8 months you had with your child, to have family game night, or to have movie night, or to be around your children, and even parents whose kids didn't go to college yet because they had to stay home, appreciate them, because they're gonna be out the house, and they're gonna want to break free. Like just appreciate them, because they're gonna grow. Like I remember when Alexis was pregnant with both her kids. Now both of them are talking, walking, and full functioning grown adults in my eyes. Like Nay is a
Pretty
full
much. They
adult.
little
Like she's a
midgets.
they a full fledged adult. Like if you've ever had the opportunity to meet her daughter, that's a mini her. Like she's a full fledged adult. Like no lie. Like she's a kid. Don't get it twisted. She's a kid, but her personality, and that's because I seen a way like Alexis, her parent, like she don't share anything from her kids. Like she don't shield anything from Nate, and she is so like well versed in things. Like she knows when Alexis is probably having a bad day and can tell her brother, "Hey, don't mess with mama. Don't no, don't do. You gonna get yelled at. Don't do.
Even
I know. Just don't
even
do
though
it."
it don't work, it don't work. But this is the thing, Zion. What the thing is about with Zion, Zion's 4. He about to be 5. He at the age where when they had to learn, mommy not doing okay, mommy not feeling good, and what both my kids do, that's just like me, will get right up under me. Don't say nothing, but like I just want to cuddle. And I want to say that to these parents out here, your kids feel you. Your
They feel
kids
your
know your
energy.
vibe.
They know
They
your.
know your
They came
energy.
out of you, G. They came out of you. They came from a part of you. As a father, they came from your loins. They came from you. They have your genetics. They
They
watch what
know.
you do. They
They
know your
know.
personality. They know when you off. So your kids don't gotta tell when you like my daughter knows I'm sick before I'm sick. Like
Hmm.
she like, oh, you need some orange juice, you need some medicine. I'm like, how do you know? I just woke up. I just sniffled one time and I get the full come on, let me rub this on your chest. Wait a minute.
Right.
Wait
Look,
a
from your
minute.
child. Like, wait a minute. But let me put this in here before we leave out. Another thing, parents, millennial parents, I want to give a shout out to these millennial fathers that is stepping up like crazy. Baby, if
Yes.
y'all ain't the shit,
For
ooh,
real.
wait.
For
Thank
real.
y'all for breaking cycles.
For
Then a
real.
motherfucker. And let's
Speak
and
that
let's
stuff,
just
sis.
Man, let's just say this. You know what? It's okay. Shout out to our parents that was single, our mamas that was single mamas, and couldn't figure out how to find peace and co-parenting with our daddies. But
Mhm.
shout out to this generation for making peace with the other parent, no matter what. That this is the generation that's like this. Yeah, I know we ain't work out, we ain't doing so well, or this ain't gonna work, but we got this child and they need us both. So hey, you gonna either deal with me or you just gonna deal with me. That's it. And make it work. I'm so
Facts.
proud of our generation, the millennials. That's literally like we are not going to continue this cycle
The cycle.
because we lived in a multi generational household that we seen mama having to take care of us by herself and she seen her mama having to take care of her by herself and so on and so on and so on. It got to this generation and we showing up broke the cycle. I have seen young brothers in their 20s, late teens, early 20s, all the way up to now to 30s that have a baby, get a woman pregnant, or they get their woman pregnant and be like, yeah, I know shit is crazy right now, but I'm gonna be a dad. Yeah, I know
And,
how
and,
it
and
is between me and their mama right now, but they need me and fight like hell to be there for their child. So guess what? So all the single mamas out there, if your baby daddy just out the blue just step up and he a millennial, high five that nigga, high five his ass and keep it moving. Cause we breaking cycles up in here. Ain't nobody got
exactly.
time for the baby mama drama
Exactly.
up in these streets up in here.
Exactly. And I
It's
just
all right.
wanna
It's all right to find peace. It's all
it
right to find
it
peace.
is.
Guess what? There are resources out for family counseling. Go
And
figure
get it.
out a middle ground and get it.
And I just wanna
So
say
I just
this.
want to point that out.
I just want to add to this before we get up out of here. Um we'll talk this generation of fathers have really wanted to be fathers and really even embraced their fatherhood because the generation before them and the generation before them, they really didn't know what being a loving father was. Like the James Evan method of fatherhood doesn't work all the time, like that stern father figure, like you think that's how you have to be. But sometimes, like, having these fun dads want to be dads and want to be loving and crying in front of their sons and having their sons cry, and like I said, raising emotionally intelligent children. Like, this generation is not soft. I hate that term. Like, they're so hypersensitive, they're soft. Like, no, they're more emotionally intelligent. They know that some of the things that you saying that are homophobic, that are misogynistic, that are racist, that are cowardly, and they're calling you out on it. That's not being hypersensitive. That's saying, yo, we've done it for generations, but this gotta stop. Like, I'm not
Hmm.
saying like if somebody says the color is blue, but it's really dark blue, I don't think you need to call them out. Blue is blue. But when I'm saying like, hey, saying he, she's, or that's this or that's that, like actually using proper terminology, or actually saying like, my son not soft because he cries, or he's not mentally weak
Mhm.
because he doesn't have this. I'm going to put the whole team on my back and carry him. Like, no, they actually
Mhm.
understand what teamwork is about. Like, we want to grow up with this animosity of, hey, I'm not gonna help you, I'm gonna get it on my own, I got it out the mud. Like, no, that's how Asian, white people, even Hispanic people have been able to leap bounds and yards above us because they give out the game while we so concerned
Yep.
about holding on to the game. Like, no, pass the
Yep.
knowledge down to the young brothers. Like, yo, you OGs out there, if you knew that what your dad did to you of beating you and trying to beat the softness out of you because they wanted to suppress who you really were, nah, that's not cool. Don't do that to your son. Don't do that to your daughter. But again, shouts out to these millennial dads that want to be dads, that are fighting to be
Man.
dads, and that are proud to be fathers. Like the generation before them, I ain't going to no Lamar's class. I ain't doing no pregnancy photo shoot. All baby showers, that's just for the women. Now these dads, they at the gender reveals, hyped up. They in the delivery room going on Facebook Live. They hype about their child coming into the world. They excited.
Mhm.
And once again, just a quick point. Millennial parents share their accomplishments differently. They's like, oh, you don't like we share the pictures of our kids growing up. Like I've heard people who I've went to high school with who I don't see on a daily basis. They're like, man, I done seen your daughter grow up. Well, that's because I've had a picture of her since the day she was born till now on Facebook, and they feel like they know my child. But that's that connection. As much as we want to say these phones and computer screens leave us so disconnected, a lot of times it does have us connected. Watching your child grow up on Instagram and watching all of these things take place. So I'm just saying, like, for real, this this conversation needed to be had. It's a conversation that's gonna keep having to be had. But I'm just like I said, millennial parents, we doing our damn thing out here, and we trying, and it might not be perfect, but what parenting is. It's new circumstances, new times with new rules, and things are changing each and every day. But my biggest advice is just to embrace it, love it, because your kids grow up so doggone fast. Before you know it, they're gonna be parents. And trust me, I'm
Mhm.
gonna laugh and I'm gonna enjoy every minute of it because I'm gonna be the most pimped out grandmama in the world. But that's but
Be
for
sitting
real though.
sitting back with a wine, go like, yeah, baby, I already know. Mhm.
Yeah, I
Cheers.
was
What I'm
I
supposed
was
to do?
I'm going
Cheers.
to like I'm gonna be sitting in my rocking chair talk about. Let me tell you about when Cash Money did it for the 99 and the 2000s.
Look,
All
I'm
with
gonna
a
be up
time to be
there.
alive.
Look, and I'm gonna be up on the porch with you, but like, yeah, they did do it for the 99 and the 2000. You remember when we was able to put our hands where our eyes can see and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I be right there. You remember when they said to the right with the Cupid shuffle? You remember Cooper self, the Cooper shuffle? Yeah, the Cooper
Ooh, the
shuffle. That
Cooper
was
stuff.
that. That was that. You know, how low can you go? Can you go down low? I
Can you
can't go
go
down low
down
no
low?
more. I can't go that low.
But like if
But
I
yeah,
go
you
down low, I'm gonna be on the floor. My knees ain't Megan knees. Remember Meg in the
remember
sun?
how she doing? Yeah, she's still out here. Like you, we going to her concert. She having a hot girl reunion. Okay, but
But I remember that song talking about, yeah, when I ride the dick, be like, baby, when I ride that thing, I'm gonna spell my name. We gonna be
like
some
like
nasty girl.
like we gonna be 70 years old talking about got that wop, got that wet ass. We gonna be like, who, grandma? Like, yeah, yeah, it was. Wait, you don't know,
Yeah.
you don't know about that wop. Let me. This old school right here. This that old school. But yeah, so just embrace it, y'all. Love it, enjoy it, because it is what it is. So As we pull into the 95th Street station, please grab all your belongings and exit. This is as far as this train will go. As you head up the stairs, elevator, or escalator and head to your next destination, we want to thank you for riding the red line with us. Please come back next Thursday and every Thursday. From now on, once again at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. New time, same vibe. Like I said last week, here on TalkShoeRadio.com. The number again is 717-734-6904. Show ID 511-65-19 #. You can also check us out on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications for all upcoming videos and episodes. Also, we're on Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, and Stitcher Podcasts. And don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell some more friends to like and follow our Facebook page for all upcoming events and show topics. And if you're interested in promoting your event or business, want to share a show topic, or want to be a guest on the show, or any other business inquiries, please email us at redlinepodcast2020 at gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Nelly Swag09. You can follow me on Twitter at Nelly Swag09. And you can like my Facebook page, Nelly Swag09. Become a fan. Also, if you want to connect with me on a deeper level, please send me a friend request on my personal page, Chanel Nelly Logan. And I just want to thank y'all for rocking with us and enjoying our show. Queen Alexis, tell the people what you got coming up and where they can find you on social media.
Pretty much, y'all know where I'm gonna be at 3 times a week. I'm on Talk Shoe Radio Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock p.m. with the Madam Queen's Court open mic. Hashtag Tuesday Night Vibes. We had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guest this past Tuesday, and this coming up Tuesday, we are featuring a phenomenal artist. This sister is bad. Her name is Tiana Riel. So stay tuned for that. 717-734-6904. The show ID is 2864394 #. I'm here every Thursday with Nelly Swag, and every Saturday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. It is Mad Hatter Saturdays. And baby, we up right on there, and we gonna be talking about some more stuff. We gonna do part 2 of political ratchetness because it's just ratchet. It's just ratchet. Trump keep doing shit, so we gonna be
Doing
talking
too
about
much.
it coming up, baby. We gonna be talking about it coming up on this new election and everything. So stay tuned for that. You can call in on Saturday, the same number, 717-734-6904. That show ID is 991-5968 #. And man, you can find me on Instagram, Queen_Alexis1990. On Facebook, my fan page, Queen Alexis, and also my personal page, Alexis Sherelle Owens. Now you can send me a friend request, but fellas, I am not single. Okay, thank you. Anyway, also you can find me on TikTok. You can find me on TikTok as Queen_Alexis1990. Yeah, yeah. I'm not. I'm be promoting the shows, but I'll be ignorant on TikTok, so it is what it is. Coming up, look out for. I have merchandise come out now from Teespring.com. Please go to www.teespring.com/Afro Royal Deity. Once again, the name of the store is Afro Royal Deity on Teespring.com. And y'all check out, I got masks, I got shirts, I got coffee mugs, I got phone cases for Samsung and iPhones, I got stickers, I got towels, I got blankets. I even got for my brothers and sisters that are pet lovers, dog lovers. I got you for the hoodies, boo. Got you, boo. So check me out there. Also, if you are on Facebook and on Instagram, type in confidence, and that will bring up my children's father. hair and beard online. His name is Confidence, and we got some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful fragrances, and it works. All natural essential oils, no preservative, no chemicals, none of that. These are all natural oils that's going to help you grow your hair, grow your beard, grow your hair, keep it healthy and everything. So you can check out Brandon Farrell Brown on Facebook and Pharaoh the Barber 3_3 on Instagram for that. Also, if y'all, for my fellas and my ladies that like to keep the hair short, he is a barber, so go on check him out. Look, I gotta promote him because hey, he helping me with
She
these
need
kids,
that child
baby.
support. She need that child
Right.
support. Let's just be honest. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, people.
But
But
that's
anyways,
where
yeah,
y'all
yeah,
can
yeah.
find.
Yeah.
That's where y'all can
So
find us.
yeah, shouts out to Pharaoh the Barber. Go ahead, get your line up, get crispy, get fresh. Fellas, get the beard lined up because you know it's cuddle season and we don't want those rough, patchy beards. Like, it's not, no, no. Get it right. We don't want you to look strangling out here. But again, tonight was an awesome show. People, we are almost to the midway part, about to close out season one. Can you believe it? But I just
Man,
appreciate y'all walking with us. And normally we don't do this because a lot of the times we just announce the topic on the Facebook page. But I'm so looking forward to next week's episode because we're going to be
man,
diving into one of my favorite new shows,
woo,
Lovecraft County. Lovecraft Country.
child,
Lovecraft Country. It was based on an awesome novel, which I'm reading right now, and I've been watching the show. It is on HBO and can be streamed on HBO Max. I'm telling you, if y'all don't want spoiler alerts, if y'all haven't watched Lovecraft Country yet, please, you can binge watch it. The season finale comes on this Sunday. And man, the show has so many things into it. And we're going to be breaking down the whole first season, people. So, again, if you're not into this show, do not watch, do not listen to this next week's podcast because there's going to be spoilers. We're going to be breaking it down. And hopefully, we're going to have some people coming on with us to talk about this show and all the different Easter eggs that are in it. So, please, if you love Lovecraft Country the way me and Queen Alexis loves it, you need to tune
right,
into next week's show. Cause man, the way me and her been corresponding on next week's show, oh, this baby might be a 2 hour joint. I'll be honest with you. We gotta go through 10 episodes and we got a lot to explore. So yes, please come back here next Thursday. And thank you for riding the red line with us this week and every week. We'll be back next Thursday right here on TalkShoeRadio.com. Once again, that's 717-734-6904. Show ID 511-6519 £. Have peace, have blessings. Shouts out to the millennial parents. Please go register to vote. If not, please early vote. And oh yeah, just a quick reminder, you can still arrest the killers of Breonna Taylor. And we gone.